Hi everyone, welcome back to Vocab Builder. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of BL and BO roots, exploring how just a few letters can shape meaning. First, we'll look at the Latin root blanc, meaning white, which gives us words linked to paleness, emptiness, or simplicity. Then we'll move to the Old English root blare, meaning a loud, harsh sound, the source of words that feel intense, noisy, or disruptive. And finally, we'll peek at bovinus, the Latin root for cow or ox, behind earthy rural words like bovine and bucolic.
Let's start with the Latin root blanc, which means white. Think of whiteness as something linked to paleness, emptiness, or plainness. This root gave birth to a number of English words that connect to simplicity, dullness, or even coldness. Take blanch, for example. When someone blanches, they turn pale, as if struck by fear. Their face loses its color. Or bland, which we use for something tasteless or dull. A flavorless meal is like a blank white canvas. Then there's blasé, describing someone bored or unmoved because they've seen too much. Life's colors have drained away. Bleak also follows this pattern, evoking an image of a white plain, cold, desolate, script of life. Even blight, referring to disease or ruin, ties back to the idea of withering color and vitality. And finally, blandishment, or smooth flattery, can be understood as an attempt to whitewash over the truth. Now let's shift to the Old English root blare, meaning a loud, harsh, abrupt sound. The mood immediately changes. Instead of a quiet emptiness, we get noise and attention-grabbing intensity. A blare is quite literally a loud sound, a horn or siren demanding you notice it. Blatant shares that quality too. It describes something obvious or glaring, like a noise that refuses to be ignored. Blemish might seem visual, but think of it metaphorically. It's like a loud flaw shouting for attention on an otherwise smooth surface. Blunder continues the theme, a public mistake so big it rings out. Blunt, meanwhile, refers to speech that hits hard, direct and unsoftened. No gentle tone here. And blurt fits perfectly. Words bursting out suddenly and unexpectedly, like a verbal alarm. When you put these together, the pattern becomes clear. Words beginning with a BL often carry one of two emotional colors, either the pale, drained quiet of blanc or the loud, jolting impact of blare. Knowing this, you can decode meaning and nuance the next time you meet a BL word, and picture it vividly to make it stick. And finally, we have the BO root, which comes from the Latin word bovinus, meaning cow or ox. Now, you might be thinking, what can cows possibly have to do with advanced vocabulary? Well, actually, quite a lot. These words not only describe rural life, but also carry centuries of linguistic history. Let's start with a fun bit of word history, or what I like to call etymology drama. Have you ever wondered why the animal is called a cow, but when it's served on your plate, it's called beef? They come from different languages. Here's the story. Back between the years 500 and 1000, the people in England mostly spoke Old English, brought by the Anglo-Saxons, a Germanic language. Then, in 1066, everything changed. The Normans invaded from France, bringing with them Old French, a language descended from Latin. Suddenly, England had two languages living side by side. The common people spoke Old English. The ruling class spoke French. And here's where it gets interesting. On the farm, the peasants were the ones raising the animals. So the animals kept their Old English names: cow, pig, sheep. But when those animals ended up on the nobleman's dinner table, the meat was given a French name: beef from bœuf, pork from pork, mutton from mouton. So the live animal was cow, but the cooked meat was beef. And in modern French, bœuf still means both ox and beef. That's a perfect little snapshot of English history hiding inside everyday words. Now, from the Latin bovinus, we get a few English words, still connected to cattle and country life. Let's look at them. Bovine, relating to cattle. Connection? This comes straight from Bovinus. Beyond animals, it can describe something calm or slow. She gave a bovine stare, meaning quiet and unreactive like a cow. Bucolic, pastoral, rural, rustic. Connection literally means of the herdsman. It paints a picture of peaceful, simple country life, rolling fields, grazing cattle, shepherds, and sunshine. Think of it as the opposite of urban. Boor, an unrefined or ill-mannered person. Connection? Originally, it just meant a farm worker, but over time, it came to describe someone rude or crude, a person with cow-like manners, so to speak. Boorish, rude, oafish, unsophisticated. Connection? The adjective form of boor. Imagine someone chewing loudly at a fancy dinner. Yep, that's boorish behavior. So even though these words come from the humble barnyard, they've wandered into modern English carrying rich meanings, some neutral, some not so flattering. And that wraps up our look at the BO root family, words that remind us language can be both down-to-earth and deeply historical. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for another deep dive into the roots of English.